Now, Iraq may have been proclaimed free from ISIL, but the victory came at a huge cost. One volunteer unit lost thousands of men to the jihadists in the battle to defeat ISIL. While such groups may not always see eye to eye with the government, they're ready to work together to defeat a common threat, be it terrorists or even the country's current allies. Murad Gazdiev reports.
The Valley of Peace, the largest cemetery in the world. Millions are buried here, and recent years have seen an upsurge in new arrivals. ISIS was the cause. Thousands upon thousands of Iraqi fighters have come here in coffins, wrapped in the Iraqi flag. Most of these were volunteers.
This boy was 16 years old. Although he was forbidden to, he still joined the resistance. These are all officers. They weren't afraid of dying, and their parents took the sacrifice with pride. They are all heroes. We are proud of every single one of them. And this was the Sheikh of all snipers. He killed 343 ISIS fighters.
Abu Tahsin was among those who volunteered for the Hashd al-Shabi, or Popular Mobilization Forces, when the call went out 3 years ago. They proved key to defeating ISIS in Iraq. Hundreds of thousands of men on a jihad against jihadists. These paramilitaries largely answer to religious leaders, in this case, the Shia cleric al-Sistani. But they quickly earned a fearsome reputation. They participated in every major battle against ISIS and lost thousands along the way. There were reports of atrocities carried out by PMFs, allegations of human rights abuses and religious persecution. Yet few can say that ISIS could have been beaten without the PMFs. Besides an honor roll, this battalion even has its own ISIS museum to show for itself.
There are now more ISIS flags and weapons in museums and in private collections than there are out in the wild. Over here are a bunch of swords with a particularly horrible history. These are the weapons that ISIS used to execute people, to chop off people's heads and arms for various offenses. Over in the next exhibit, you have ISIS's bomb-making components. Here are a bunch of cell phones, as well as detonators, radios. Over here is a suicide belt, grenades, mines, and other bits and pieces. Over in the next section is ISIS's Air Force, drones, DJI Phantoms, and gliders.
Thing is, the stand-up fight is almost done. It would be wrong to claim that ISIS in Iraq has been destroyed entirely, but the jihadists have certainly gone underground. The pitched battles are finished. Why, people ask, do we still need these huge and well-armed sectarian militias?
The PMFs played a huge part and they sacrificed a lot. But to be honest with you, they should hand in their weapons. This is the law of the country. We should pay them and thank them, and they in turn should disarm.
We follow the order of the cleric al-Sistani. He has told us not to hand over our weapons. Instead, he said keep your eyes and your ears open for ISIS.
But it is more than that. Iraq is a divided country. The PMFs serve as more than fighters. They're seen as protectors of their communities, powerful armies that look after their own, be they Shias, Sunnis, Turkmen or Yazidis. There are still potential enemies, be they neighboring communities, countries, or even current allies, the US-led coalition.
We know the Americans very well. They always have a stake everywhere, with both the Iraqi government and ISIS. Look at what the Americans did to the Kurds. They encouraged their referendum, but at the last moment withdrew their support. We don't take orders from the Americans.
And on that, at least, the Hashd al-Shabi agree with the government.
We hope that with ISIS' demise, the coalition forces will leave. It's that simple.
The question remains open. what to do with hundreds of thousands of armed religious paramilitary fighters who threw away their lives to save their country from ISIS. Morad Gazdiev, RT, from Baghdad, Iraq.